Now that we are done with the header section, so we are going to move further to the other sections, which is the banner here. But one thing is that from banner to the section before the footer, we are going to wrap it on a main tag. We have a tag that's called main. So this will contain the main content of your website. And also we have a tag that's called footer. So and this will contain these bottom section of the website. So let's now go back to our HTML. So this is our header, we are done with that. So inside this main section, so we are going to have a main tag. So inside this main tag, we now have different sections. The first section here is the banner section. So let me just comment it for now, banner section. So after the banner section, you have, let's say, what should I call it? Cook Delicious. Cook Delicious section. And after that, we have this, let's call it services section. Services section. So after that, you have your book your table section. So book table, let's just call it book table section. So I'm just creating the layouts before writing the codes. So we have get application for your phone. Let's just name it get app section. So after that, we have featured food. Now the section tag. So after that, we have blog posts. Then we have the sign up. Blog post section. And lastly, we have the sign up for newspaper section. So these are the sections that's going to be in our main area. So and the last section here is going to come here down here, the footer section. So now starting with the banner. So firstly, we need to wrap everything inside the container, just like we did for header. So we are going to wrap it inside the container. So after that, we are going to have everything here wrapped inside another div tag. So we have a section. So the class name, or let's go by the ID of banner. Since we are going to have only one banner in our website, so ID of banner. So we are going to have a container inside it, a div of container. So after that, we are going to wrap everything here inside a single div. So let me call it banner middle contents. Banner underscore middle content. That class name is very long. Oh no, sorry, I did not put dots. Is it clear? So we have the section for banner, and inside that we have a container, just like we have it inside this header. So inside this container we have the content. So inside this content, the reason why we wrapped everything in the middle is just in this div is just to centralize it like this. Or we can let us have it like that. Or we can use the text align of center. I think we can go by that instead of wrapping it inside another div. So you can just target this container and centralize everything inside it. Are we getting that? So firstly, this here we can put your food. Let us use let's say H3 or H4. Let us use H4. So after that we have this let us use H1 or H2. Let us use H2. Since we've already used H1 for the name of the website. So we can use paragraph for this. Tag. Paragraph. Are we getting that? So the last one here, we can use an anchor tag. It looks like button, but yeah, it looks like button, but let us use anchor since it's going to reference us. It's going to link us to another page where we'll be able to order for the food that we want to order for. So in that case, we use anchor tag to do it. So we can just style it to look like this. So let us give it a dead link, and the content is order right now. Right. So this is what we have for now. So we have the H4, the H2, the paragraph, and the order right now. So now, I think we are done with the HTML parts. So now, inside the CSS, all these parts from here, from the header here, they are for the header section. So let me just give it a comment. Header section. So to know the stars for the header. So let me now copy this. So now we want to develop the stars for banner. So come here, just to demarcate everything, to make everything look okay. Banner. So now inside this banner, firstly, we want to add a padding to it, just to make it as big as this. So to do that, we need to select this ID, and to reference an ID in CSS, we use hash to reference it. Hash. If it's a class, we'll use dot. If it's an ID, we use a hash. So that's banner. So let's just give it a background color to make it visible. I like to work that way to make it. So this is our banner area for now. So let us add a padding. Padding is the inner side. So we want to add a padding to the top and the bottom. So padding, let us add a padding of, let's say, 180 pixels. So you can say padding top, padding bottom, and set it. And we can also use padding only. If we use padding only, if you set one value, it's going to add to all the sections. That is the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. So if you look at it right here, so it's added it to every section. But what we want to do is just the top and the bottom. And after that, we are going to centralize this. So to do that, you just need to add two values. The first value will represent the top and the bottom. Then put a space. The second value will represent the left and the right. For example, now if we want to add, let's say, 100 pixels to the top and to the left and the right. So this is how it's going to look like. You can see. So this padding here is smaller than the padding that we have here. So let us reduce this to, let's say, 50. You can see it adjusts the top, the left, and the right. So now, but what we want is 0 pixels padding. We don't want any padding there. So we don't want any padding there. So 180 pixels is for the top and the bottom, and this one is for the left and the right. So the little space that we are seeing right here is just for the padding, the margin that we have for the container that we already set right here. You know, here we set container margin of width of 90%. So let us give it a background color so that we are going to see what I'm talking about. So did you see? So that's why it's showing like that. So going back here, we have our top and the bottom padding to be 180 and the container to be what? 0 pixels. That means we don't want any padding at the left and at the right. So to centralize everything right here, let us try and use text align of center. If it's going to work. You can see. So it works. It worked. So what is left for us to do now is to give it a color of what? White, a text color. You know, everything here is in white. So let us give it a text color of white. And to do that, we use a CSS property color, white. Is it white? Yeah, it's white. So everything is now in white. Let me just comment it for now so that you'll be able to see it very well. So the next thing is to add some margins to the H4, the H2, and the paragraph. So inside this banner, inside the banner we have H2. Also want to select the H4 that is inside the banner also. So this group selector to select different elements, H4, and also the paragraph. So margin bottom of, let's say, 10 pixels. For now, let's see how it will look. Yeah, I think it's okay like that. So what's left is just for us to change the space between what? We're going to do that. I'll come to that. This one is anchor tag, so we're going to do that. For that A, this is a. Let me just give it a class of banner button. So that we want to reference it on CSS, we are going to use a dot. Margin top. Display. Line block. So we have it there. So after that, so now we want to change the font size of each of the elements. The first one is the H2. So let me add the H2 here. H2. I want a font size of 44 pixels. Yeah. I think it's okay like that. So after that, I want to add. Let me give it a little bit of padding, or margin rather. Margin. At the top, I want to add 20 pixels. At the right and left, I want to add 0 pixels. So that is if we use two values. So these 20 pixels will be applied to the top and bottom. So this 0 will be applied to the left and right. But if you add 3 values, let's say 10 pixels now. So the first one is going to apply to the top. The middle one is going to apply to the left and the right. And the last one is going to apply to the bottom margin. But if we use 4, so if we use 4 values like this, let's say 0 pixels here also. So this 20, the first one is going to apply to the top. It's going to start from the top, then 0 pixels to the left, to the right, the 10 pixels to the left, and the last 0 pixels to the what? To the right. But let us go by just 3. So with that, I can remove this H2 from here, so it doesn't need this again. So this the margin has been set on it. So after that, we want to design this button, this anchor tag. So and to do that, we reference it here, which is this banner button. Firstly, we need to give it a background color. So and after that, we add it, we give it some margin. So this is how it looks like now. Let me remove the text decoration, the underlying stuff, text decoration to none. So let me give it a padding of 12 pixels to the top and bottom, and 20 pixels to the left and right. So let me give it a color, text color, or let me give it a border radius. I think there's a rounded corner here. Let me just zoom out so that we can see it. You can see this rounded corner. So to do that, we use our border radius to do it. So we have a border radius of 3 pixels. Let me change the color to white. So looking at these, this one is in capital letters. You can write it from the HTML here. You can change it to capital letter, and you can use a CSS property of text transform and give it uppercase. As you can see. So I think the font is it's too big. So let me give it a font size of 13 pixels. I think it's okay like that. So let me change this one, the color. I think I have a hexadecimal color here. Oh. Again, I think it's okay. So we have letter spacing. So letter spacing is going to give spaces between the letters. Let's assume I have 5 pixels for now, as you can see. So it gives space between the between the letters. But what I want to add is 0.3 pixels, a little spacing. Let me give it 0.4. Oh, sorry. 0.5. I think it's okay like that. So sampling this a little by little. So what we want to do now is just to add some fonts to it. So this H2 now, the H2 in the banner, I want to add. No, we've already added 2 fonts, the Spectra font and the Roboto font. So for this, I want to add a Spectra to it. Let me go to my. So we have the banner and the H2. So to reference that, we have ID of banner, then H2, font family, Roboto. Let me copy it from here, Spectra. Yeah. It's giving me an italics font because the only font that we select for Spectra is in italics. So let me just select one that's not italic. Let me use this regular 400, select it. So that means I'm going to replace this link with the previous link that we have to include that the new font that we just added. So scroll up, come here, highlight this, delete it, and paste the new one. So I think this should work. It worked. So is it clear? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Good. So the next thing is this one here. I think it's having a font of Poppins, the Roboto rather. So let me change this to Roboto. How is that? Okay, this is it. Copy that. So H4 now. Banner. H4. Fonts family. We have this. So I think they are now the same, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if the paragraph is also reported. Let me check it. Banner. Yeah, I think it's also reported. Yeah. So, but what we are going to do now is, since we are having the same style for H4 and H and P inside the banner, so we can group them and just give it a single style, just like we did here. You know, here we've already grouped H4 and P. So just copy this, come here, paste it. So you don't need this two anymore. So you can just delete it like that. So it will still work. Do you see it? So another thing is that, let me try and okay. This paragraph tag, as you can see it here, it is in 2 lines, and the size is. Let me just reduce the width of that paragraph if we're able to do that. And also the font size, I think this should be 14 or 13. Paragraph. Let me reference the paragraph. Banner. P to reference the paragraph. So font size of, let's say, 14 pixels. So I think that works. Right? So width, let's say I want the width of 70%. Increase 50%. So to centralize it now, let us give it a margin left and right of auto if it's going to work, and the margin right of auto. Good. I think it works like that, right? So the last thing that we want to add now is the background image that we have right here. So I've already copied the image here. So what you need is to move this image to the folder of my website, the Victory folder. So copy everything here. Copy. So go to the desktop. So this is the folder. Open it. So create a folder here. Let me just name it images, img. So inside that, I'll paste all the image. So the one that I want to add to the banner section here is this first one, and the name of that is what? Is a banner. So to reference that under our HTML or CSS rather, so we have a property that is called background color. So we are going to assign it, or we're going to set it to this banner section, not the container. If we set the container, it's going to be applied to everything here. It's not going to touch the edges of the website. So we are going to apply it on the banner, on the parents. So here. So we come down here, or let's say this background color. I don't need it. So this is how it looks for now. So we now give it a background A background image. And to specify the link to that image, so we have a function that's called URL. So inside that URL, it is then that you specify your image. So now you need to reference that image from this styles .css. This is the style, this is the file. So the image that I want to reference is inside this folder. So with the name of banner, right? So what we are going to do is that we are going to reference the folder first, which is the img image. So come to the CSS img slash. So slash means go inside that folder. Yeah. So and the one we want to choose is banner.jpg. So if you go back to our website, it has applied.
Wow.
It has applied the image. So the only thing that we need to do is just to change this text to a white text. So let me uncomment this. I think we are what? We're there. So one thing about that background image, it has different properties that you can set. So for example, now you can set the position of that background. Let's say background position. If you want to set the position, so you can add it to top, right, left, and so on and so forth. Let me just say 100 pixels, just for you to see how it's moving. You can see it shifted the image 100 pixels. The reason why this one is showing is because it is repeated. So you have something that we call background repeats. So we want to set it to no repeats. We just want only one image, as you can see right there. Let me find a smaller image, just for me to just demonstrate that repeats property for you. Let me use this cook breakfast. Let me uncomment this no repeats. So instead of this banner, I want to cook breakfast. You can see the image repeated automatically. So if you want to get rid of that, so you can just come here, set it to no repeat. So it's just going to apply once. Are you getting it? So from there you can set the position. You know the position is 100 pixels from the right. So you can decide to use, let's say, I want to set it at the top. It's going to be on top. You can decide to give it, let's say, right. it's going to send it to the right. So you can control that from background position, but you don't want that. So we also have another property that's called background size. We have a lot of properties. So let's say 100%. So this 100% is going to take the whole container. It's going to take the whole container. So that is what we want to set on the image that we used earlier. We want it to take the whole container no matter what. So let us now set this back to, what was the name? The banner. Okay, banner background. So this is how it's going to look, as you can see. I think we are progressing a little bit. So I think these the font of this anchor tag is in Roboto. So let me change that also. Banner A. This is banner button, right? Font family. Let me change this to Roboto. Yeah. I think we are there. Yes. So let me set the font weight. I think this one is this one is bold. So let us set this also to bold. And to bold that text, we use what? Font weight, right? So let us set to 500. I think it's getting closer to it, right? So I think we are done with this. Let me check. Okay. Looking at this paragraph now, you can see that the second line is very, very closer to this. So, and if you look at there's a little bit of space between them. So to do that, we have a property called line height. Line height. So this line height, let me set 1.5 or 1.7. Okay. So let me set that banner to 500. That text rather, the H4 to 500. Are we getting what I'm doing? Yes. H4. So font width. I don't want it this one is thick here. So I want to set it to a lighter 500. I think it's okay like that. So with this, we are done with two sections, the header section and the banner section. So the next section that we have here is this We Cook Delicious section.